Welcome to Bookview TV. I'm Dennis Campbell. Now, each week we discuss the craft of writing books with an author in any one of a number of categories. Sitting across the Skype table this week with me is crime novelist Seumas Gallacher. He hails currently from the United Arab Emirates, a land of mystery, oil, and money, lots of it. Now, this former Glaswegian author has seen his two crime novels reach tens of thousands via Kindle. The Violin Man's Legacy and Vengeance Wears Black are the first two in what seem to be a growing series of Jack Calder novels. Add in Seumas's recent appointment as Blogger of the Year in the Emirates, plus being born near the Glasgow shipyards, being a former banker, like me once, which we shall only whisper about in hushed tones, and his move from Scotland to the Far East to the Middle East makes him the sort of character one might want to know more about. But rather than let me introduce him, I found this short snippet he uses on his own blog.
Hi, I'm Seumas Gallacher. I'm an author. I've written two books so far. The first one was called The Violin Man's Legacy, and the second one, just recently launched, is Vengeance Wears Black. They're both downloadable on Kindle ebooks on Amazon UK and Amazon US. I'm, as I said, an independent author, which means I'm self-published, which also means that so far no agent or publisher has seen fit to come along and try to make millions of dollars out of me. Well, that's their loss. But many of you out there have been kind enough to download my books, and I want to say sincerely to each and every one of you, thank you so much for all of that support. It is wonderful.
Seumas Gallacher, welcome to Bookview TV.
Hi Dennis, how are you doing?
I'm doing great today. It's sunny here in Wales. I hope it's the same up there, and it's a very rare occasion on a summer's day when we can actually see the sun. Well, not there in Abu Dhabi though.
We say about 360 days a year. It's turned out nice again today.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Now, bankers normally get to Abu Dhabi by taking a hard right petrodollar turn out of London. So let's start with how you found your way into that 50-degree desert playground and wonderland of the Emirates.
Well, I did my London to Abu Dhabi via the Far East. About, let's say, nearly 1,000 years ago, when I was a young man banker, I was hired out of London to go to Hong Kong. And then I spent 25 years bumping around various parts of Asia, finally ending in Manila. And by that time, my banking had morphed into being more of a troubleshooter for companies and banks. And I've retired now 3 times in my life as a professional retirer. I've got to stop doing that. And a pal of mine was running a bank here about 10 years ago that needed some assistance, and I was asked to come out for a month. And here I am. I can't find the way out again.
So how long have you been there in Abu Dhabi?
10 years.
10 years in Abu Dhabi. Wow.
Time off for bad behavior.
Now, banking and crime tend to have a rather close relationship. Some would say too close for comfort, but they're usually quite far away from military ex-SAS soldiers. So tell us a bit about this character you've created, Jack Calder.
Jack Calder was a fairly easy character to get to. When I was in the Philippines, one of the turnaround jobs I was doing was sorting out the mess of a ferry company that had 15 of these roll-on, roll-over type ships with customers and cargo, and the thing was basically just heading for bankruptcy. I was asked to come in and essentially clean up in every respect, and there were a lot of scams involved. For my sins and theirs, I fired 600 trade union dock workers in the first month. That made me extremely popular. I was then invited to get myself an armoured car with a rotational squad of 6 armed bodyguards. These guys were trained by a former SAS fellow. That's the genesis of some of the characterization.
Wow.
And of course, Jack Calder is your usual 6'2", blue-eyed, blonde, good-looking guy from Govan, where I come from, of course.
Well, you know, he is a quite interesting character, so I have to ask the question, how much of Jack is in Seumas and vice versa?
Let me answer that by saying, in your part of the country there in Wales, I heard a story once about some old fellow who was a carpenter, lived in a village for 50-plus years, on his own. When he died, the villagers came to his house and went through his stuff, and they found a box loaded with poetries, which this man had written for 50 years. And they got to wondering, was this a carpenter who happened to be a poet, or was he a poet who happened to be a carpenter? That's as far as I'm going to say how much of myself might be in Jack Calder. But I don't do carpentry.
Well, that's good. But you do diamond heists. And in your first book, Jack is in my wife's native country, Holland, investigating a diamond heist. How does he get into the predicaments he finds himself? And there are a number of scores there to settle. So how does he settle them?
Basically, the SAS feature in the book is an override insofar as these boys are former SAS guys who left the military and set up their own specialist firm looking after high-value shipments and people. And so when they encounter the usual international crime lords and drug movers, they then solve some of the issues by using some of their black ops skills. That's how we get these guys into the various places and internationally parachuted into places where they're welcomed by some of the senior authorities and not by some of the others.
Well, you know, you've grown up in a place, the docks of Glasgow, which are legend. I mean, we've heard of so many, you know, people rising out of there and moving on to other things. Talk a little bit about what it's like growing up there, the street smarts that one acquires. Because obviously you've just come, or not just come, but you said that you had to fire 600 dock workers. Tell us a little bit about that rough and tumble life, because it clearly plays a role here.
You're the first guy that's asked that question. I'm pleased you have. Docklands Glasgow, like many other places 50, 60 years ago, was a place, a rather a mixture of not having any money but having lots of good friends around. Family was very important. Respect of elders and even the authorities, like the police bobbies on the streets, were respected people. And so although you had very little in the way of tangible goods, intangible values, I think, that are born in these places lead you to things as you go through your life, hopefully. And I think I've inculcated some of that into the book about some of the characterizations I have, not just from Jack and the Govan shipyards, but even the major who comes from higher up the social echelons. Again, respect the dignity that I like to think that is inherent in a lot of people. That's where the dockside comes from. The family units there were very tight, very close, and neighbours were very close. So this idea of the three SAS guys being together, they're almost like family. And that permeates all the writing I do about these fellows.
Well, I mean, it truly is a unique experience. And when we come back on BookView TV for part 2 here with Seumas Gallacher, we're going to look more into the platform that he's created to promote his books, The Violin Man's Legacy and Vengeance Wears Blacks. These are the first two in what are a growing series of Jack Calder novels when BookView continues. Stay right here.